A man had been waiting in the hospital for 4 days to get his gallbladder removed. The first day, he'd arrived alone by ambulance. No warning, no preparation, just sudden pain and an emergency admission. Days 2 and 3, his wife stayed with him. Now it was day 4, and the surgery still hadn't happened. His wife had a migraine. He could see she was suffering. He asked her to drop off a few things for him and then go home so she wouldn't have to spend all day at the hospital waiting for nothing. She refused and accused him of not caring about her. The context made everything more complicated. They'd planned to attend a 2-day event in a different city that weekend, something they'd both been looking forward to. But the man's sudden illness and need for emergency surgery forced him to cancel. His wife had been set on going by herself anyway. When he asked her to stay and be there for him instead, she cried her eyes out. Even after calling her mother, who told her it would be better to stay with her hospitalized husband, his wife remained resentful. The hospital was boring. The man had only his phone and tablet to pass the endless hours of waiting. On day 4, he asked his wife to please drop off his Nintendo Switch and a spare charger so he'd have something more to occupy his mind during the interminable wait for surgery. She exploded. She told him he was being too selfish. She was sick with a migraine, and he was still expecting her to do things for him. The man, trying to find a compromise, offered to call an Uber to pick up the items from their home and deliver them to the hospital reception. She begrudgingly agreed. Now the man sat in his hospital bed, feeling guilty but also confused and hurt. Was he the asshole for expecting a bit more support from his wife while he was hospitalized waiting for surgery? He tried to be fair in his assessment. He wasn't in severe pain. The gallbladder issue was serious enough to require surgery, but not causing him agony in the moment. He was just bored and lonely. 4 days in a hospital room with nothing but a phone and tablet, waiting for a surgery that kept getting delayed. 4 days of institutional walls, beeping machines, and uncertainty about when his procedure would finally happen. But was boredom and loneliness enough to justify asking things of his wife when she had a migraine? Was it selfish to want his gaming device delivered when she was in pain? On the other hand, he'd canceled their weekend plans she'd been excited about because he needed emergency surgery. He'd asked her to stay with him instead of going to the event alone, and she'd cried about it. Her mother had to tell her it would be better to stay with her hospitalized husband. That alone suggested something troubling about her priorities. He'd even tried to minimize the burden by suggesting an Uber delivery so she wouldn't have to make the trip herself. Yet she still called him selfish. For wanting a gaming device while waiting for surgery. For wanting company during 4 days of hospital isolation. For needing emotional support during a frightening medical situation. The man wondered if he was missing something. Maybe his wife was more stressed than he realized. Maybe she was scared about his surgery and expressing it through anger. Maybe the canceled weekend had meant more to her than he understood. Or maybe, as he was starting to suspect, his wife simply didn't see his hospitalization as important enough to warrant sacrificing her own comfort and plans. What do you think about this situation? Was the man wrong to ask his wife for support and a few items while hospitalized? Or was his wife wrong to prioritize a weekend event over being there for her husband's surgery? Share your thoughts and feelings in the comments below. Like, comment, share, and follow this page for more.